All right, everybody, let's get started on our reading passage titled The Transatlantic Slave Trade. As we read, remember to practice your pronunciation. If you are looking for that help, you may pause and rewind as needed when you do not understand a word. And more importantly, also practice your narration so you can speak the words and read at a pace with me, Mr. Land. So let's read together in a choral or choir-like reading. That's the whole point of this video series, to help us with our reading as we do longer passages. So let's begin. Mr. Land will begin at the top and keep a slow pace, and you will follow, listen, and narrate. Ready? We'll start with paragraph 1. Paragraph 1 states, paragraph 1. During the 1600s, the number of slaves transported to North and South America was low. However, the 1700s saw a huge increase in the slave trade between West Africa and the Americas. An average of 60,000 people each year during this century were captured, sold, and transported across the Atlantic. Let's move to paragraph 2. So I'll show you that. It is titled The Triangular Trade, and you can see the picture there that shows us the triangle that we are studying. Ready? Paragraph 2. The triangular trade involved the exchange of people and goods between Europe, Africa, and the Americas. European ships would bring goods like cloth, beads, metals, and guns to different African ports where they would be exchanged for slaves. These slaves would then be transported across the Atlantic to the Americas, where they would be sold for sugar, tobacco, coffee, cotton, or other raw materials. These materials would then be shipped to Europe and sold, completing the triangle. So then we see how all the goods are being changed in the triangle. Let's go to paragraph 3. It's the largest one, and then we'll get to our questions. The title is Enslavement. Let's begin. The increase in the demand for slaves set off a series of wars in which different kingdoms and tribes fought to capture and control the supply of slaves to the coast. Access to guns and other modern weapons gave a huge advantage to some groups over others, setting off even more conflicts. Peoples who had resisted getting involved in the slave trade were often forced to take part simply to protect themselves against enslavement by others. The profits to be made from slave trading also affected traditional laws and punishments. People convicted of even minor crimes were now sentenced by their leaders to be sold into slavery. And now we reach the end with our questions. Let's look at those questions before we answer them. I will read them with you. Number 1, 60,000 people per year is an average. What do you think might cause the figure to go up year to year? Number 2, why do you think that few Europeans were actually directly involved in the original capturing of the slaves? Question number 3, what motivations did different groups have for getting involved in the slave trade? Question number 4, how did the growth of the slave trade change traditional slavery practices in Africa? All right, kids, now it's your turn. Practice your words, practice your reading, and answer your questions.